else is alive, Butch?
I think that thing in her arms is alive.
It's not a doll. You don't play with dolls. You play with puppies, right?
I thought it was a teddy bear.
Well,
Oh. Yeah, we got a little Western here.
Yeah. Welcome our latest entry into the world of future competitive top dogs. This is Little Miss, soon to be named.
Yep.
We call her Sooner for short.
her French name is Bozid.
What is it?
Bozid.
Bojid.
Bozique?
Bozid.
Bojid.
Bozin. Bozin.
Yeah. Bojid.
Bozin.
Cute. It's
Como es?
cute little.
Cute little-
It's
cute
just
little
a
something?
slang word, yeah.
Yeah.
Cute little something, but
So-
I don't know how much
The
longer.
Western Shepherd name yet, the Western name. I'm trying to pick a Western name.
What the hell's that? What the
Trying
hell?
to pick a Western name.
What's on here? What's
I'll tell
this?
you what we'll do,
What
we'll-
is this? I found something else.
Oh my goodness!
Oh.
You got them
There's
running.
two.
You got them running everywhere around here.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. So these are two little girls. This one's still looking for a home. This one's got a home. Going to be staying around here for a long time. And if someone's looking to get one of the
It's a big girl.
absolutely
How many weeks, Butch?
6 weeks. Okay.
Big girl right here.
Almost.
Yes, yes.
If you like them big and you like them tough and you like them smart, you come to the right place.
Yep.
That's all I can say. So these are little girls. We got little boys too. They're not here just yet. They'll be coming.
Go run and play,
So,
little
At
child.
this point, we still have 2 little girls. If you want to get into the Western Shepherd Project and be part of our breeding program, give us a call. We've also got all the little boys, and if you're looking for a competition dog, if you're looking for a police dog, if you're in the military and you're looking for a military dog, call somebody else because I like to keep my dogs around close. But everybody else, if you're looking for a real, top line, if you're looking for an agility athlete, oh my gracious, look how smart they are. That one turned the air conditioner off all by herself. We'll need to get another chair. This could be a slightly disorganized. What do you think, Scott?
Puppies are intrusive. These two are anyway. They're puppies. Hey, what do you expect?
So, yeah. So we're gonna try and get through this with some bit of information and decorum.
Yes,
Is that the word we're looking for? Decorum.
decorum.
Dad, you know when you were in the gaming room,
Yeah.
she was on the rocking chair, and then she started running, and then she jumped off of it.
Oh, really? Already?
Yeah.
Jumping
Off chairs.
Yeah. Yep. But Mina's help.
Let me tell you why that because this one right here is going to be living with this one right here, which gives this one here a huge advantage over other dogs. But Nina just said she jumped down off a chair. Let me explain the significance of that. In nature, naturally, all mammals are born with 2 fears, innate fears they call them. Everything that frightens you, everything you're nervous about, everything you're scared of, is something you learned to be afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
No one is afraid of only 2 things when you're born. That is a fear of sudden loud noises, which is why we have the startle reflex if somebody goes boo, and a fear of falling. Probably because, Ugg and the little caveman babies, when they got to the edge of the cave and started to go over the cliff, they looked over, and so it's a natural. The hardest part about dogs is not getting them to go up an A-frame, it's getting them to come down the other side.
yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So we got a 6-week-old puppy here that's already defeated that fear.
Yeah. Multiple times.
Yeah. Probably has something to do with the way this puppy handled her.
Yeah.
But that's a good indication.
A lot of R&R. A lot of playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come back and they're both sleeping in the chair. But no.
Wear each other out.
Yeah. I think it's gonna work out just fine.
So we'll watch this one grow up, and we'll update everybody once a month or so you can see exactly how we raise our Western Shepherds and how we train them. I think and all our pups. By the way, if you do get one of our pups, the obedience training is included in the price. We don't want any of our dogs to grow up uneducated because the only way we can improve the breed is to know what the breed's capable of.
I mean, that's a hell of a deal to you have one of these dogs. You can come out here and Bush is always available to talk to, or if you got questions, or even come out here in the yard if you're Western Shepherds. And Bush will work with you.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's a hell. That's a.
I think so. I hope so.
That's a good deal. I mean, you know,
Yeah. And you can be part of doggy history.
you ain't,
Whoa, watch this one, Carol Ann.
you ain't just a. We're not. You're not just a dog breeder, you're a dog trainer. So, you know,
Yeah, put them
mean-
together and you got a good thing going for you.
yeah. You start them young and you roll them through.
Yeah.
A lot of people come out in the puppy training, and after a few weeks they kind of phase off. But some have stayed, and those dogs are, and the people that own them are better for it. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, which is don't mean nothing, but you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we're setting up some breeders in other parts of the country. Jenna Rhodes down in Florida is one of our recognized breeders, and we will be lining up a couple others in Tennessee. And there's one other one, but I forget where it is right now. So we're going to slowly start making them available to different parts of the country. And should you be watching and all of a sudden everything goes dark, you'll know the puppy's found the main power cord.
See what she's eating over there. She's eating something. Can you go check, please?
We're gonna go check.
Okay. So,
Guard dog.
guard dogs. Let's talk about some guard dogs. Oh, and hello to the Sinclairs in northern Maine in your beautiful weather.
Hey Herman, how y'all doing up there?
Yeah, I got a call today. It's 60 last night. Today's supposed to be hot. It's supposed to be hot. It's
What do they call it hot?
80,
It'll be 80.
But it's very enjoyable.
I just saw the weatherman say that our low tonight will be 84.
Yeah. There's a flip side of that, and we'll talk in January. And
No,
we won't be so.
No. Wait, I got to throw something out. I saw a deal. I think it was in Illinois or somewhere up around their part of the world. This high school has just redone their football field, synthetic turf, all black
Really?
with white letters.
Huh.
Yep. And
I get it.
the people doing the newscast hadn't talked to them, but they're assuming that wherever this part of the country is, they get a lot of snow, and they figured because that's in the summertime that'd be a rough place to play.
But in the fall, yeah, that melt the ice with the
That's
sun.
it.
Yep.
That's good thinking. So, just a little trivia. You always get a little trivia
It's
here.
different here and there, and
Yeah.
we are everywhere.
Broaden your horizons. Learn
Yes,
something different
yes.
every day. Anyway, guard dogs. What do you
Guard
think about guard dogs? How hard are they to train, Scott? Or what's the biggest thing about training? What do you think? What would
The
you
biggest
say?
thing
Yeah, most important.
to me is the bond between the handler and the dog itself. For proper, anybody can send a dog,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Go get them.
I can go get him. But what happens if you can't always send your dog? You don't always want to send your dog. You want your dog for protection. You want your dog next to you.
Yeah, you don't want to send your dog.
No, that's the last resort.
Right.
Everything. But you need to know how to handle your dog. In the meantime, if you have confrontations or something happens, the protection procedures and certain things you need to learn how to do properly and work as a team together to make everything coincide.
Agreed. And I wasn't expecting that one, but he just came up with a great topic for another. There are people, I have seen 105-pound ladies who knew how to handle a dog, handle something as big as old Michelob there.
Yep.
There's a right and a wrong way to do it. There are tactics you can use as a handler to help your dog in case you are attacked by a group of people. These are all the self-defense tactics that, some of them I learned from other older men that were in the guard dog business, when I first got in. A lot of it I devised myself because they were just doing guard dogs, where I had branched out into labor strikes and prison breaks and all that sort of stuff. Carol Ann's trying to watch the puppies. Anyway, so the handler and dog connection and the proper way to use your leash is very important. But what I see a shortage of like I said in our notice today, you know, if you're the world champion in this or that, or the best, you're the head instructor for the USPCA, or any the puppies keep distracting everybody. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea. I don't know. You get written up, you get books, you get all this recognition, and these are the people that write our books and do our videos and give us instruction. And I guarantee you, because I'm an avid book reader and video watcher, I've ever seen 2 books titled anything about guard dog training. And the people who wrote the books about guard dog training have never used a guard dog in their life. It's a good phrase to get attention, I guess is what they're thinking. Mm-hmm. But and nothing against them, they just never realize that there is a right, like everything. Every discipline has the things you should and shouldn't do. Mm-hmm. There's a trick to every trade. So, a couple of things about guard dogs that are unique in what most people are going to read. The first thing that I'd get into is this thing about targeting. We don't want a guard dog to target. It's like teaching an MMA fighter that all he can do is do a kick with his left leg, you know. A grappler, all he can do is an arm bar lock. You know, you can't go into battle with one weapon.
Right.
So that's the first thing we don't want to target. Second thing, what do you think of when you're training? How do you want the dog to interact?
And the dog to be, depending on the breed, Mastiff's different.
Right.
Rotties,
right.
but basically the dog's attention, his eyes, what he's looking at, how he's focused on me.
As the agitator.
As the agitator, yeah.
Right.
And that's what targeting, you know, hidden sleeves and just leg sleeves, you know, and the rebites and all, but just I want them to be, I don't want them to be passive. Right. I like it when you give that command, that dog is alert. And we do it on purpose in distractions. We do.
Right.
We don't. Sometimes we don't, but it happens. And some dogs just come in here and do great and get out there and won't focus. But the tenacity of the dog, the positioning of the dog, and to me, when the dog actually, you know, you want to say prey drive, but you know, I don't want to get into that. When the dog comes in the depth of the bite, the dog's in a bite, where he's looking, what he's doing, is he coming in doing something different? Is he gonna rebite? What you're presenting, you know?
Why would a dog rebite?
Well, because if he's on my arm here and I want to go hit him with the brick, the dog will come up and stop me.
Yep.
And then this arm's done, and this arm's done too.
Yeah.
Or if we're on leg bites, switching from leg bites to you know.
Right.
That's a good way of testing, you know, get him on the leg bite and come over and, you know, aggressive to another way. And you teach all that.
So, what you're saying is, we don't want a dog that bites and never lets go because he's getting hit or kicked.
Right.
We want him to defend himself properly, to take control of the human.
Yes. So hence, in other situations, you know, if your dog is immobilized a target, you need to out your dog and get in the guard. That way, there, if there's any other threats, or that person ain't gonna move again. If he does, he can get bit again. But if your dog's engaged here, you need him out. You need to out him. You know, something else coming this way.
Right.
Like certain dogs, certain departments or whatnot, their dogs they don't let go. They're made to immobilize a target, and then we'll take it from there because they, you know, like you said before, they've got an army with them.
Yeah.
It's not just you and your guardian. It's you and 30 others and a couple of guardians sometimes.
Yeah.
You know.
And all of these are the things that are different when we're training. When I was in my guard dog business, you know, again, I've said this before. the main difference that gave me a different and background a little bit. Before I opened the guard dog business, I had trained Schutzhund title dogs. I had trained one, I'll admit that, just one ring title dog. He wasn't very good either. Lots of obedience, lots of AKC obedience, a little bit of UKC obedience, a whole lot of coon hunting and hog hunting. So, worked for the dog food companies, used to do seminars and for the IAMS company, going, to different dog events, dog shows every weekend. So I had a really broad background. When I got into the guard dog business full time, someone asked me, what was, yeehaw, hi-oh silver, away, go boys. Someone asked me, what was my epiphany moment? When did I realize that all these things I'd seen from the really great Schutzhund trainers and the ring trainers and the obedience trainers was not going to work, that there was another way to do it? And, I thought about that for a minute. I thought, well, it wasn't like just a, but then I kept thinking, and there was a moment. I had a Doberman at a car lot, and he cornered this old boy, and the guy jumped up on the hood of a car, and the Dobie kept trying to run up, jump over the hood, and go bite him in his arms, It appeared from the tracks, because I didn't have the guy to tell me what happened. I'm having to read the signs. That was the best part about the guard dog business, was I learned more about tracking and reading sign than anything I'd ever done. But this had progressed from one car to another car, with the guy jumping up on the hood of the car, the dog trying to get at him, him beating or kicking at the dog, knock the dog down, and apparently he'd jump off and he'd get on another car, and he was trying to get back towards the gate. And along the way, just as he got to the fence to try and get over, there was some big stones. This is El Paso, and there's a lot of rocks, it's the desert. And he picked up one of these big old stones, and this dog come at him. It's one of the dogs I had trained, and he was a really good Dobie, and he did the Schutzhund thing and went to bite him on the arm and didn't turn loose, and this guy just bashed his head in. That's when I knew there's got to be a better way. Mm-hmm. So I contacted some of the old-time guard dog trainers, OK Knighton down in Baton Rouge and some others, and that's when we started coming up with, listening to what they were doing with their dogs, and then as I branched out into the other stuff, the crowd control and that sort of thing. Oh, they're just squealing at each other. So anyway, that was my epiphany moment, and what I had to do was work out ways to stop that. The first thing I realized was Schutzhund training for a title where you're teaching a dog to stay on the bite while he takes a whole lot of stick hits is not good on the street. Remember, my dogs were by themselves, and if someone broke in at midnight, there wasn't going to be anybody there. Hey, respect your elders. Oh, no, or don't. Whatever. So we started working out scenarios and literally looking at a lot of the martial arts, Oriental martial arts, as to how they did things and worked with things, until we came up with, I guess, my style of guard dog training. Mm-hmm. So if you ever entered a K9 Pro Sports trial, or if you get one of our rule books, it says in there we have our judging criteria. Remember, don't go to any sport that doesn't have a written judging standard for you to look at, because if it ain't in writing before the show or before the year starts, then you're going to a brother-in-law club. You don't need that. So in our standards for judging the bite work, we have a real simple statement. The judges are looking at the dog's ability to intimidate, dominate, and control the bad guy. And that's what our guard dogs had to do. So let's go to, I said, some techniques. Well, let's get a little technical here, Scott. We got two basic principles. First, on the actual hit. We want a dog on a command, like Scott said, that on switch. We want to be able to send that dog to that person, and we want the dog to automatically try and go high center mass, just like you're trained to shoot in self-defense classes with your weapon. Same way, you hit the biggest target. By going high, by having a dog who launches and goes towards a man's upper body, you're going to have a human who, I guarantee you, no matter what weapon he's got in his hand, is going to cover up. If he doesn't cover up, so what all dogs learn through communication, right? But sometimes, since we can't explain it to them, we have to set up a physical situation. It's going to be hard to do. We have to set up a physical situation.
One at a time next time. One at a time.
One at a time. Yes, yes, yes. So here's techniques that we're training. First, we're going to look at teaching the dog to launch. Mm-hmm. Again, we don't want them just to jump up and go to one spot. We want them going high center mass where they're totally intimidating to the person that they have to control. This person, now that person's on the defense. He has got to react to their action. The action, the offense is always faster than the defense. Mm-hmm. It's just, you're late to the party if you're defending. So you got to move more and faster. So when you get this response, your dog's going to latch on to whatever he can latch on to. Most of the time it's going to be an arm. You may have a dog that, depending, like somebody jumps up on the hood of the car and goes to kicking at the dog where he grabs a leg. All these things are permissible, okay? But how do you get the dog to understand that when he sees someone that's a threat, he launches and goes straight up as high and hard as he can? We have an exercise we call a slingshot. This is probably Scott's favorite. Am I right?
I love slingshots. For starting dogs out, once you establish a good deep bite and the confidence level of the dog is to a point which you recognize, you go ahead and initiate slingshot. So basically, slingshot is a dog at the end of the leash. Okay, let's start over. You go ahead and give your dog your command. Get him. Dog gets in the leash. I'll come in and agitate the dog and tease it and tease it and tease it. You know, if I see fit and ready, the dog is hyped up enough, I will have them reel the dog back into him, and I'll follow in. And the dog will be brought back, and the dog touches half the dog's body is behind, almost at a heel position. I will go ahead and send the dog on leash. So now you have a 6-foot leash, I brought it down to nothing. I'll back out the dog will come out and lunge out.
And what this does...
It's a controlled send on a leash, basically.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And because of the way you're doing it, the real key here is reeling the dog back into the handler. You want to bring them back in slow, because now we're building frustration. Like you see a lot of the defensive trainers that train in defense, and how they're just making a scene in front of the dog and teasing and tormenting and just getting them pumped up. That's what we're doing with this slingshot. We're dragging them back. The dog's trying everything he can to go forward, but his partner is pulling him back, which makes the dog want to go forward further. We're trying to get as built into the dog as we can. As he touches the handler, okay, now he's back to his partner. Everything's right, life is good, and that ugly sonbuck is still in front of him, and he really, really wants him, and you just give him slack. And what happens is he's been pulling so hard that they'll take one step, and then on the second step they'll launch. Your agitator knows how to bring the dog high for the bite.
Yes.
That's the agitator's job. The dog bites where the agitator wants him to, not where he wants to. So he's going to bring him up high, face high. Dog gets his bite and he wins. What happens is when you're on a 6-foot leash, when you reel that dog in, unless they're smaller than 50 pounds, when they get that sudden release, boom, it's just like you pulled a rubber band and then ping, turned it loose. And that's what this dog is going to do. He's pulling. There's release. He's going to be a little off balance. He'll grab himself to rebalance. He'll
Launch.
push.
They launch.
And then in the air.
It's automatic.
Yep. Now, whenever they're working after reps, they're always going to take that posture, that tactic first.
Yep. They because if you're coming in before, you'll see the difference before and after. Once you start initiating slingshots and you get the rhythms down. Also, the way the dog launches, the dog will launch always feet first.
Yep.
He'll come up and jump like he's jumping. What happens? He tags you. And when you catch him and he tags you, you bring him down. Automatic. Then we're starting to develop a style of fighting for the dog.
Second thing. Yep.
So,
And-
but another thing, after you've done slingshots and you go back to just normal, like intrusions of the dog, and then the leash, the dog also will start coming up. You won't start.
Right.
And you don't got to go to the dog. Never go to the dog. The dog
Nope,
needs to come
nope.
to you. But after
Right.
that, it's much more natural. The dog, because your presentations you're doing and everything else is basically you brought the dog to that point with the slingshots. So now, after enough repetitions, like you said, enough practice,
Right.
it comes natural then.
And you see a lot of the younger decoys when they're starting out, whenever they go to give a bite, they always bend down and put their arm forward for the dog to get. If dogs train that way, the odds are on the street if someone's attacking you, this person had better bend down and invite the dog to bite.
Okay,
I know.
Slingshots are teaching a dog to go to the bite. Unintended benefits of this are really simple. You spend so much time teasing the dog as the handler's reeling him in that his defensive drive is higher, much higher. You'll see a dog that goes from, instead of going woof, 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 which is an indicator of high prey drive at that moment, to and his mouth will start lubricating. The reason dogs snarl, especially Rottweilers, or drool just before they bite, is to lubricate the teeth. That means they've made up their mind, I'm fixing to have to bite this guy. And if you got lubrication, it goes in quicker. So this little routine of dragging the dog back slowly just intensifies the defensive nature of the dog, gets him crazy for the bite. That's a plus. But then the sudden release to go get him will flip his pituitary, is going to all of a sudden start flipping in adrenaline. And that means he's going to be getting a touch of prey drive, and it's going to be a very full mouth bite. So you're going to improve their bite with this exercise, as well as teaching them how to knock a man on his ass. And what Scott said about the front feet forward, because if they can land just right and stick their feet in your breadbasket and knock the wind out of you, just as they grab your arm and bend you over, well, we all know what happens when you get bent over.
Basically a mastiff technique where they're trying to teach the dogs to hit and come down and start pulling. And once it gets you down and he drags you down, you're immobilized.
You're his.
That's it. If you're on your back, there's not much chance you got.
No. So that's one of the most valuable techniques we've got. But now, what Scott's saying about the Mastiff, and he said earlier something about this works with so many kinds of dogs. Well, we change it up. So there's 3 basic fighting styles. I've done this before, but just in case, you have what Scott's talking about is our foundation. We want all our dogs to hit and drag. Why? Well, if they've got an arm, if you've taught them to hang and just bite hard, then you got your other hand free to reach over and grab their collar, choke them to death.
You're trying to give a dog the tool of having as much control of the fight as possible, basically, what you're trying to do. Use all his appendages and all his
Muscle.
well, basically everything he's got to help him out and give him the advantage.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
legs, both his legs, all four legs, head, use all his tools, I should say.
Yeah. There you go. All
Yeah.
this too. And if he hits you and pulls back, if he gets an arm, your arm's out here. If your arm's out here and he's pulling you and it hurts a lot, you can't grab it.
It changes the whole
If
nature
you're
of
on
the
your
fight.
feet. Huh?
It changes the whole outcome of everything.
Yeah. So the other thing you can do, the drag, if you get one really dragging good for all your dogs, I say generally 75 pounds and up can be successful in a drag.
Mhm.
But then you have, what are you going to do if you've got a 60-pound Malinois and he can't pull a man off his feet? Well, then what we teach is what we, in the guard dog business, we call a dodge. We teach a dog, he's on the bite, on his leg, on his arm, wherever, and every time someone reaches for him,
Dog will pivot.
yep, he jumps sideways, he dodges
Mhm.
anyone grabbing at him. And I've seen agitators in training go around in circles.
Yep. I've seen handlers come chase me around in circles.
Yeah,
The dog, I can stop the dog and hold it, but I'll just keep turning me around, and I'll watch these people walk around me for 5 minutes trying to catch that dog.
Yep,
I shouldn't do that, but it's funny.
it's funny, yeah.
Why won't he stop doing that? And that's a good trait for a dog to have.
Yeah, it's a great trait.
But anyway,
Yeah, because remember, we're not talking about it. So let's put this to civilian situations. Especially, one thing we teach, as Scott mentioned earlier, is we want to be able to get a dog to release the bite and drop into a guard. Because if you're a single woman, and this, again, anything I tell you about are situations I've experienced. They're not something I dreamed up. It's not something I thought about might work. It's what I saw work on the streets in real life. So if you're a single woman and someone has done whatever meaning harm to you and your dog stops them, the last thing you want to do is walk up to that person and put yourself in harm's way. In other words, you're not going to go up there and put handcuffs on them. First place, if you got handcuffs on you at that moment, well, I want to get your phone number. We might get together later. I don't know. but
no.
You're not prepared to do that. But by bringing your dog, having that off-leash long-distance control, getting your dog to release and drop into that guard, and he's trained that if this person blinks, he rebites. And this is a standard thing that comes from Schutzhund. Let's give credit where credit's due. The sport of Schutzhund, when they do their bark and hold, and then the decoy makes a move and he rebites, and then they do the escort. So there are some things in the sports that are great for on the street. It's just what I did was take it to the next level, so it's more civilian, street oriented, and that's the biggest difference.
Yep. Absolutely.
So what do we got else?
Well, I don't know.
We got, what do you think? We got the slingshot. We got the reason for the three different fighting. Oh, third fighting style, rebites, like you mentioned.
Yes, rebites. So, there's a big misconception about this where people say the dogs are typewriting. They're rebiting. Rebiting and typewriting are two different things. And that's for another show, the cause of that and the purpose of the dogs doing that. But a rebite is not a typewrite. This is not a rebite.
No.
It's a typewrite.
In the guard dog terminology.
A rebite is from one appendage to a targeted spot in the body, another targeted spot in the body, which is voluntarily done. The dog does it on purpose. It's not just a fluke of luck. It's trained. Leg bite, gun by leg, you go to hit him with something, the dog will release and block you, stop by that arm. Look at that arm. He comes over here and comes hit this one. The dog will release that arm, and basically get the other arm. And there's techniques and ways of how dogs approach this and to teach that. So a rebite is multiple. One impinges the other, one spot of the body targets another spot of the body that shows threat towards the dog's well-being.
Right.
It's defensive, basically.
It is defensive, and it is the most difficult one to teach. But you can teach. I'd say 7 out of 10 dogs can do it without a problem.
And some have it naturally.
Yeah, a lot of them. When dogs are in defense, they tend to rebite anyway.
Yep.
So one of the ways we start teaching that style of fighting is we get more defensive and less prey drive. We put the dog in a defensive mode.
He said his mic is a little bit cracked on.
It's crackling. It's all right. We're almost done anyway.
See the green up here?
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, I see a lot of green.
Okay.
Can you hear me though? That's all that matters.
Which one was that? Troy telling us?
Oh no, Top Dog Canine.
Huh?
Top Dog Canine Training.
Oh, okay. Thanks, sir.
Appreciate it. But yeah, so, you know,
Is Troy on there? Second Wind, you on there? Hey, Troy. Sometime during the week, give me a call if you would. I got a proposition for you, man. Give me a call.
right, so we covered a couple of techniques we use to start dogs off. And the techniques that talked about also, the latter part. So, I mean, that pretty much covers what we had for tonight, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I know next week, because I had some questions about. I'm always getting questions about pro sports, and every time we try and get something started up, something wrinkles it. But again, you know, we thought we were going to do a June trial, and you don't really want to compete when the temperature is 101.
So,
So we're
we're
going
a good
to.
time right now. A little warm.
Yeah.
It's hard on the handlers and on the dogs themselves also.
Yeah, we're going to wait till fall, but there's some things that are okay. Canine Pro Sports was, or is, I should be saying, a unique thing in the dog world at the time it started and even today. It's the only American sport that's internationally recognized as a certification system. It was used by security and police agencies in other countries to certify dogs. I mean, it got a lot of respect.
Yep.
It gets a lot of respect. And there's reasons, you know, for all these things. And some people were asking me about it. And so I think for enlightenment, if you want to know how things are in the pro sports world, we might do a little discussion of pro sports and what makes it unique in the bite training world.
Yeah.
So we might do that next week. We'll scare some people off.
Yeah, right.
So, you got anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. But, you know, so basically, you know, these are street dogs. There's no points in the streets, folks. And train your dog well, you know, and use what it's used for. And, you know, they always say it's all about the dogs, people. So just remember that. And we'll see y'all next week.